So in this video I'm going to show off something I've been working on for a while now. In fact, I literally started making this well over a year ago now. And that is, I've been trying to redraw every single Pokemon from memory. Or at least for now, just the Kanto region. And in fact, I'm not even done yet. I still have about 50 Pokemon to get through. And there have been other people on YouTube that have done this same exact thing, but they've done very, quick little sketches. I'm actually trying to do, fully colored drawings of the Pokemon to try and see how close I can get to what they actually look like based off my memory. And I've done so much useless stuff with every single Pokemon on this channel, and Pokemon is my hyperfixation, so I figured I'm pretty geared to do pretty well at this. And as it turns out, you can't always trust your memory because a lot of these came out pretty bad. Also, I'm not the best drawer out there, so bear with me here. The weird thing about this that I want to say real quick is something I noticed for every single one of these. I can perfectly picture what the Pokemon looks like in my head. Like, I have every single Pokemon's official artwork just memorized, but then when I try and put it to paper, or in this case I was doing it all digitally, when I try and actually recreate it, it's almost like trying to read someone's brain waves while they're having a dream and convert it into a video. And that's just kind of how your memory and your mind works. You try and picture something, it seems right, but it gets distorted and there are things missing that you don't even notice. So anyway, let's start off with Bulbasaur. Here, yeah. Oops. For this one and many others, I was trying to think of what their official art looks like and just recreate that to the best of my ability. So this is the art that I had in mind. To reference, I had not looked at any of their official arts or looked at the Pokemon in general. I tried to just not look at them for reference for a while before actually drawing them, so it was just simply memory I was going off of. For Bulbasaur, the main things I got wrong were I forgot its teeth somehow, as well as its claws, and I also made its pupils black instead of white. As for Ivysaur, I wasn't actually going for its official art here. I tried to make my own pose just to get a little artistic practice in. But it honestly came out looking not too bad. It's honestly quite close. I had the teeth down. Ivysaur's pupils actually are black, unlike Bulbasaur's. The main problem is the colors. It's a little more blue than I guess I thought it was. And then for Venusaur, again, I was trying to recreate its official art, but I was just kind of blanking. For a lot of these Pokemon, when I was picturing them, I knew exactly what it was supposed to look like. I knew what I had to draw. Sometimes it was just a matter of the fact that I was like, I really don't even know how I'm supposed to draw this. So yeah. Anyway, moving into Charmander, I came up with this, which looks eerily human, more so than it's supposed to be. I was kind of going off of its official art, at least from what I remembered of it, and honestly, this isn't even really too bad. There's nothing that's distinctly wrong with it, aside from lacking its toe claws. Charmeleon here, again, some of these I wasn't specifically trying to recreate their official art. This is one of them, and I'm just pointing that out here because this does not look like its official art, and I don't want to incriminate myself here. Main problems, its snout is a little too long, and its scales are a little too vibrant. Then for Charizard, I mean, you see Charizard so much, it was kind of hard to not get it down pretty well. And yeah, I can't even name a problem, honestly, looking at it. Although I guess I made its teeth set too far back on its jaw. They're supposed to be up in the front. Aside from that, I added a little protrusion coming down from the middle section of its wing on the orange part that isn't actually there. Otherwise, I actually did pretty well with this one. This is honestly one of my favorite ones, also because I created the pose just from scratch, which isn't something I'm usually too good at. Anyway, then we've got Squirtle. For some reason, I couldn't for the life of me. This is one of those things I'm talking about, I can picture it in my head, or so I think I can picture it perfectly, but then when I actually try and bring it to life, it's just oh, that's not right. And that's what happened with its tail here. I knew it was a swirl, but I didn't know how to do that. And thus I came up with this, which still isn't even too off in any way. Main problem, obviously, just the tail. Then for Wartortle, this I was trying to recreate its official art, which, yeah, some mistakes were made. Mainly, its eyes are apparently brown. I didn't even realize that. I thought they were red for some reason. And also, I forgot its teeth, among a couple other mistakes. Anyway, then we've got Blastoise. The pose it's doing in its official artwork is a little complex. And I was like, I don't even feel like trying to recreate that. I'll just have him staring directly at me, and I came up with this. Definitely looks a little weird. Again, I thought its eyes were like pinkish red for some reason. That's because Squirtles are. But apparently they're brown as well, so oops. Also, it has toe claws that I gave Wartortle, which Wartortle actually doesn't have, by the way. But Blastoise does, so I got it mixed up. Oops. I will say, as I mentioned, Pokemon is just my hyperfixation, so there's not a single one of these that I actually, really did explicitly bad on. I don't want to, flaunt. I don't want to, showboat or anything, because this is not even impressive at all, really. This is so niche and useless. But I'm kind of proud of it, okay? Yeah. Anyway, Caterpie, even though I just said what I said, this one actually is missing several things. First of all, for some reason I was thinking its segments were circular, and that's because the first 3 kind of are, but then the rest are linked. It also has 4 little feet that I forgot about, in addition to yellow rings on all of its segments that I also forgot about. Otherwise, I got pretty much all the notable features memorized. I mean, this is essentially like if you see someone and you're describing them to the police or something, you only kind of characterize their most prominent features, and that's sort of what's happening here when I try and recreate these Pokemon from memory. Anyway, Metapod, it was kind of hard to go wrong with this one. My main mistakes were just kind of not getting all of the segmentations and lines in its body down right, but it's a very simple design, so yeah. Butterfree, main mistake, for some reason I thought its feet and hands were different colors, but they're not. They're all blue, and I went a little too dark with that blue on the mouth and hands, and completely off with the feet. And then of course its wing patterns are just so complex that I was bound to make a few mistakes there. And if I'm not mistaken, the one I depicted here is a female, because I did give it the little black spots on its lower wings. Then we've got Weedle, which I pretty much got almost perfect. It's just that I kind of deleted a couple of its segments. Kakuna, I had the right idea. Again, just like Metapod, I made it a little under-detailed. Then here's Beedrill. It's not too bad. I made its limbs and antennas a little too bright. And I also, for some reason, I thought each of its segments had 1 black line each. It's actually just the bottom segment has both of the black lines. Then we've got Pidgey. And you're going to see this for the whole line. I made the same exact mistake for all of them. The sort of black mascara type pattern it has under its eyes, it points downward. I thought it wrapped around their eyes and pointed up. Also for Pidgey here, the tips of its wings have an underlayer that are tan, which I forgot about. Pidgeotto, again, I made its black eye markings point upwards. They actually sort of point down and to the left, or just forwards and down. I also missed the fact that it has a 2-colored tail. However, in a similar instance to the fact that I mixed a feature of Wartortle and Blastoise up, I ended up giving Pidgeotto's yellow and red tail, when in fact Pidgeotto has the yellow and red tail, but Pidgeot doesn't. Pidgeot's hair is yellow and red, which I did get right. Anyway, Rattata, oh man. Okay, maybe this one's a little bad. I really don't know what went wrong here. I mean, I got its general shape right. I don't know why I made its snout so rotund and long, but oh well. Also, keep in mind I'm completely doing the colors from memory as well, so I've got that going for me. And one more thing, when I draw these, if I remember after something about the Pokemon that I forgot, I don't make that change. I try and make this just my first attempt Just what do I think it looks like in the moment, and if there's any mistakes, oh well. I maybe could have improved them on some if I thought about it more, but that's not the point, I guess. Raticate here, for some reason I thought its skin portions were pink. They're actually just tan. Otherwise, this honestly just kind of looks like a more, I almost want to say, realistic or less Pokemon-like version of Raticate. Then we've got Spearow, which I made way too vibrant, I guess. For some reason I thought I knew I had red somewhere in it, and for some reason that translated to, like, the under feathers of its body, when in reality, it's supposed to be beige, and its wings are the red part. Anyway, Fearow definitely, I did a better job here, although I did forget the beige accents on its wings, and I made its tail red, when it's actually supposed to be just the regular feather colors. Ekans, I knew it had a little yellow band on it somewhere. I just put it in its middle. It's actually supposed to be right around its head, so oops. And then Arbok I was really just messing up with. For some reason I thought it would be easier to draw Arbok from the side, but when it came to drawing its little face pattern on its hood, I didn't really know how to depict that from a side angle. So yeah, I also made it way too purple. Then we've got Pikachu. I don't know how I could have messed Pikachu up. This is quite obviously Pikachu. Yes, there are, like, very minor mistakes, I guess, but everyone sees Pikachu so much, it's kind of hard to not know what it looks like. Raichu, however, there were obviously a bit more mistakes. I made its belly brown instead of beige, and also I made the little curly parts on its ears curl upwards and then into the lobes as opposed to outwards. Anyway, then we have Sandshrew, which I didn't really know how to, like, realistically render its brick pattern. I knew it was there, I just didn't know how to draw it, like many other problems I've had so far. So it doesn't really look too good, but at the same time, it does look like Sandshrew, which is more important than the drawing looking good, so yeah. Sandslash, however, same problem with Raichu. I made its belly brown instead of beige. There's also a sort of gradient it has on its snout that I forgot about. Anyway, for the Nidos, I somehow forgot that, let me just start by saying this. The female Nido line is a lot weirder than the male one in the sense that they're all very different colors. Nidoran female is like periwinkle, or whatever color this is. The Nidorina is like turquoise, and the Nidoqueen is blue. Meanwhile, the male ones are all just the same purple shade. So I got really thrown off by that, and ended up making Nidorina and Nidoran female the color that Nidorina is supposed to be. And I also just really forgot all of the patterns on their bodies, in addition to female Nidoran's whiskers. However, I did recall that Nidorina is the only Nido to lack a horn, so I got that right at least. And then for Nidoqueen, I made its eyes red, and that's because its pre-evolution's eyes are red, which I recalled. But I didn't seem to recall the fact that for no reason Nidoqueen's eyes are actually black. Among many other mistakes that I made here. Honestly, the Nidos are some of the worst ones I made, if I'm going to be honest. Which is actually kind of weird, because Nidoking is one of my favorite Pokemon ever, so you're about to see how badly I messed him up. Anyway, Nidoran male definitely looks better than the female one. I remembered that in its artwork, it's looking to the right, but facing to the left. However, I got its body way off. Anyway, Nidorino looks a bit too dinosaur-like. I don't really know what I was doing here. Oops. And then my boy Nidoking. I'm so sorry. I don't know how this happened. From there, though, we've got Clefairy, which I actually got pretty good. I did forget its little cheeks, but I had its pose almost right, including its little hand gestures. And for Clefable, for both of them, actually, I made their swirls, their little hair swirls facing the wrong way, but that's not too bad of a mistake. This Clefable I drew sort of looks like if it was in, like, Adventure Time or something, but it's still not bad, I guess. Next up, we've got Vulpix, which isn't too bad, and Ninetales, which I somehow made its body look more like a horse or a deer somehow, but it could have been worse. From there, we've got Jigglypuff, which is another Pokemon that you just see so often, and it's such a simple design, too. I didn't make too many mistakes. And then for Wigglytuff, same thing. Its ears are a little pointier than I made them. It's the best I could do. For Zubat, I was pretty much right, but I missed its lower teeth, and I made it a little too deep blue. Same color issue of Golbat, though Golbat definitely looks a lot more like how it's supposed to. Then we've got the Oddish line. Not much to say about Oddish. Or Gloom, for that matter, although I made its lips red instead of purple like they're supposed to be. And Vileplume honestly isn't even that bad either, I just made it a little too round, I guess? I don't really know what to say about it. Then we've got Paris. Look how cute I made Paris. And yes, I obviously made some mistakes. Take a look for yourself. Parasect, for some reason I thought its little claws ended in a different color. They actually don't. I also got its mushroom color wrong. Aside from that, it's close enough. Then we've got Venonat. Main problems were just some issues with the coloring, which is whatever. Then we've got Venomoth. A big issue here is that I gave it black legs that sort of go down its whole body. They actually are all condensed onto its middle segment, which I completely forgot to do. So instead of being a 3-segment bug, it's a 2-segment bug. I also got its wing color very wrong. But anyway, I've just decided on the spot that this is going to be a 3-part series, for the Kanto region at least. In fact, I don't know if I'll ever even continue from there because this takes so long to do. I'm just going to split it into like roughly 50 Pokemon for each video, since there are 151. So let's end with Diglett and Dugtrio. Diglett, so simple design, didn't really mess anything up. Unless I guess you count like the color of the rocks. And then last but not least, Dugtrio. Again, didn't really mess anything up, especially since I just copy and pasted the Diglett. So yeah, that's the first 51 of 151 Kanto Pokemon. Drawn from memory by a guy that spends way too much time with Pokemon. If you like this, consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. I'll obviously continue with more next week, and for now, thanks for watching.